So, hello, it's the Empress with some more naked truth. Somebody recently asked me to tell them about how I lost my virginity. And, you know me, I'm an open book, so I'm going to tell you guys a story about how I lost my virginity. It was an interesting story. I'm debating if I should use real names or if I should, you know, keep anonymity for people, but I don't know. So I lost my virginity when I was 15 years old, and it was with a guy who we'll call Chris for argument's sake. His name was not Chris, but it did start with a C. He was cute. He was Dominican and Puerto Rican. He had locks, and I actually met him at my job, because my first job was at a men's clothing store in the mall called Damon's at the time. Dude was so crooked, but you know, he's paying me under the table and I was cool with it. So Chris worked at like a skateboard store that was like across the way from Damon's, and that's how we ended up meeting. And you know, I really liked him a lot. I thought he liked me, you know, and then we ended up having sex. I remember when I lost my virginity, it was December the 18th. I don't remember what year, but obviously when I was 15, so that was probably 96. Excuse me, 96, yeah. So December 18th, 1996 at 7:30 p.m. on my bedroom floor in my parents' house. Sorry, Mom and Dad. Yep, lost my virginity at the house. Secrets revealed. Now, after I lost my virginity, he played me out, like 100% played me out. And I was the typical naive girl who thought we were in love and he loved me and this and that. No, he was just trying to hit the skins, which he did. So at that point, I had my first heartbreak. And shortly thereafter, I met his older brother, who was way older than me. Remember the other day when I said the pedophile chronicles? Yeah, way older than me. And I wanted to get back at him. So I smashed his brother. I did. I smashed him. And we'll call him Johnny for argument's sake. Me and him had something going on for a little while. At least I thought I did. He was not a good dude. You know, he was heavy into the drug game and all of that. There was this one day I cut school, and Johnny came over, and he came with two of his guy friends. And I knew his guy friends. So stupid me, trusting and naive at 15, you know, I let them in the house. So me and Johnny went in my bedroom and the guys were in the house. This is probably the worst thing I ever did, you know, to hurt my parents. But this is my naked truth, so I'm giving y'all the naked truth. So me and Johnny go in the bedroom and we're having sex. And what I didn't know was that his boys was robbing my parents' house. But not like robbing and taking everything noticeable, like not noticeable stuff. Anyway, long story short, they leave. I end up falling asleep. My brother comes home and goes in his room and realizes that there's a bunch of stuff missing from his room. So he says, you better get my stuff back or I'm going to snitch on you to Mom and Dad, which I didn't want. And so I called Johnny to say, you know, your boy stole yada, 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 or whatever, and I need to get it back or I'm going to get in trouble. So he just played me out, was like, oh, I don't know what you're talking about, hung up on me, played me out. So obviously it was a whole scam for them to come over and rob my parents. So at that point, he wasn't helping me. And then I called a guy one, and he acted like he didn't know anything. He said, oh, you got to call guy two. So I called guy two. I explained the situation to him. I said, I need the stuff back. He was like, well, I'll bring it back. What am I going to get from you? Mind you, all three of these dudes, way older than me. So I said, well, what do you want? And he's like, well, I want to have sex with you. So I said, okay, you can have sex with me, but you got to bring the stuff back. Because back then, like I said, I was fast. I didn't care. Like, I didn't value myself. I didn't value my body. I really didn't care. So I said, fine. So I waited for my parents to go out, and I had guy two come over, and he brought back the stuff. And he basically was like, okay, now I want what I want. So I said, fine, we go in my bedroom. We're having sex. He keeps asking to put it in the back door. And I keep saying no. I had never done that before. I wasn't interested in it. No. So I kept saying no. So then, you know, when you're having sex and it's good and you finally relax. So in that moment of me relaxing, he flips me over and he takes my back door. And I'm telling him no. Nobody's there to stop him. He did what he did. He got up and he left. So now I'm feeling like bad because, number one, I was stupid to let them come in the house, you know, and they stole stuff. And then the second thing I'm feeling is shame, which is what most people who are sexually assaulted or raped feel after they are assaulted, is that you feel shame and you blame yourself for what happened. And I wasn't going to tell anybody about it, and I didn't for many years. So I'm thinking, okay, I went through that. I got my brother's stuff back. I'm cool. Little did I know, they stole from my parents too. My parents come home that night and everything's missing. And obviously now they know anyway. So I went through all that, you know, sacrificed my body to get out of trouble, and then ended up getting in trouble anyway. And I never told my parents what really happened. I mean, I told my parents what happened in a sense that I had people at the house and they came and they robbed. But I didn't tell my parents about the transpiring of the sexual assault that happened under my attempt of trying to get stuff back. So, you know, what I will say about being sexually assaulted, well, when I was sexually assaulted, is that it was almost like an out-of-body experience. You know, I knew what was happening to me. I couldn't stop what was happening to me. And it was like I was outside of myself. Now, these are the things that changed within me that night when that happened. Let alone, you know, put aside the shame and feeling bad and, you know, dealing with the disappointment that my parents was feeling for me and all that. It changed how I looked at sex. And it changed how I looked at men. Okay? And it created this thing in me where I was able to separate my feelings from sex, which most women are not capable of doing. But I had to do that in that moment. The problem is that stayed with me for a very long time in my life. I was able to just have sex with guys like a guy, not have feelings, and keep it moving. It wasn't until I think maybe after I got divorced that I started to actually attach feelings to sex. And it's funny because my best friend said to me the other night, because I just got out of a relationship, and she said, you know, what happened to the Jackie from college, you know, that used to just beat a man in situations and never catch feelings for a dude? And I'm just not that person anymore. Like, and as much as my heart hurts now because I am a regular girl and I catch feelings and stuff like that, I'm happy that I can catch feelings, because for a very long time I couldn't because of what happened to me. So, you know, what they say when you are sexually assaulted, that you either go from one extreme to the other, which is to become like a nun and be celibate and never want to do anything sexual ever again, or you go the exact opposite and go way extreme and you're like hypersexualized and stuff, which is what I was, what I became. And it's taken me a very long time to like heal from that. And every once in a while I do, you know, see residuals of that. Like, for instance, with anal sex now, because that was taken from me, I really can't have anal sex casually. It's kind of like me giving you my heart, like ripping it out my chest, putting it in your hand, and trusting you to take care of it. So that's huge to me because it was taken from me in such a way. However, if I had it to do all over again, I wouldn't redo anything differently in my life, because I still feel like everything that's happened has formed who I am as a woman today. Whether that be good, bad, or indifferent, we are all the sum of our experiences in life and the people we encounter. So who's to say that happening to me didn't, you know, create some of the magic that I have? You know, maybe that's a crazy way to look at it, but that's how I look at it. If anybody out there has been sexually assaulted or a victim of rape, you know, don't be quiet about it. You know, speak about it, because you never know who you could be helping with your story. And I spent a very large majority of my life not telling anybody about that. And I remember I was home from college one summer, and me and my mom was out and about, and she was sharing something very private about herself with me. And that in turn made me feel comfortable to share with her something very private about me, which is what happened to me when I was 15. And she looked at me and she said, you know, why didn't you tell me that? Like, why didn't you tell me? Because I kept wondering what was wrong with you and why you were acting out and why you were being so wild and stuff like that. Because, you know, when you have trauma manifests itself in your behavior. So after that happened to me, I was just wild. Like, I was super wild. That's how I met all the R. Kelly pedophiles, because I was on some wild, I don't care type time. So, you know, I told her, I said, I never felt comfortable enough to really talk to you like that. I was brought up really religious, you know, lived my life in that, you know, religious preacher's kid bubble. And I never felt comfortable enough to talk to my parents about sex. I mean, they never even talked to me about sex. So how am I going to feel comfortable to talk to them about what I'm going through? I say all that to say, don't hide, and don't be afraid to share your story, because you never know who you can help. And so now I'm an open book with my story. And, you know, I'm here. I survived. I've loved. And I've actually gotten over my whole trauma of the anal thing. Long as I'm in a relationship, that's a viable option. But that's my naked truth. So hope you guys got something out of it, and I'll be back again with another one when I'm inspired. Are you gonna go, buddy? Are you gonna go? Make sure you hit that like, share, and subscribe. Drop a comment or whatever. Talk to you later. Bye.